What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight... Alright, we're coming back to the Deftones. Yes, indeed, Deftones Fans FEELIN YOU. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to do all the clicks and the likes and the bibbity-boobity bop, do me a favor. Before you do all those things, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This is a request from Zach Barlow, and it was also the winner of the Patreon request prioritization poll, winning with 40% of the vote, moving it from number 415 in the queue straight up to number 1. So yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, your voice, your vote does matter. They all want to see me react to this song by Deftones called Rosemary. Now, have I heard the song before? No, I don't believe so. This does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a minute, this sounds very familiar, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've heard a number of Deftones songs, but this is not ringing any bells with me, so I'm almost positive I've never heard this before. Now, obviously, if I start listening to it and it does all of a sudden become, oh, yeah, there it is. Well, like I said, I'll let you know. This was posted by Primera Stark, okay? And the video has 10.6 million views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Deftones, Rosemary. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Doesn't sound like anything I was expecting from the Deftones. From what my memory serves, This sounds completely different from anything I've heard from the Deftones before. Not at all what I was expecting. Very, I would dare say, I don't know if I would go as far as to say experimental, because I've heard a lot of other bands do intros like that. Very, very delay reliant. Building on those delay patterns in the guitar. I mean, I've heard bands do that kind of stuff before. Gotta say, they did it very cleanly. They definitely did it cleanly. Good build up, good intro. If the intro had kept going, and if it had kept going on longer, I would have started to lose interest. They left it off and they stopped it right at the perfect spot with that entrance of that steady guitar coming in with the kick drum. Really nice. No, so far so good. I got no problems with anything I've heard so far. So far so good. Let's keep going. Okay. So it's groove metal. All right. Here's the thing about groove metal. You're going to have the guitar, bass, and drums just chunking away. Jun, 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 jun. And they're going to riff. They're going to riff. Very simple. 8 notes, quarter notes, wherever the case may be. It feels like 8 notes in here. It's going to get very repetitive very quickly. So in order to save the listeners from, and I know people are going to take this the wrong way, but I'm going to say it anyway. In order to keep the listeners from getting bored, it's going to have to rely on something to capture the attention of the listener. Because otherwise, it's just gonna drone on and on and on and on and on and on and on with that pattern from the bass, guitar, and drums. They're doing a great job of keeping that from happening through the use of two voicings. One, the vocals, obviously. The vocals are the most obvious thing to come in and give that melodic line the push and let the melodic line really carry the listener on this roller coaster, on this journey. And the vocals are doing a fine job of that. But the vocals are also being reinforced through the use of the keyboard. Now, the keyboard is not as prominent as the vocals are in the melodic line. They're there more for support, like as a reinforcement. But they are coming to the front. Whenever you hear the vocals start to lay out a little bit, the keyboard comes up in the mix to not replace and not take over the vocal line, just to support the vocal line. The vocal line's up here, right? It needs to rest. It needs to take a breather. It needs to give that chance to recoup, right? Well, here comes the keyboards underneath. Here's the platform. Come in and rest on it. Okay. Whew. Give it a rest. Let the keyboard kind of support you. Let the keyboard carry you. And then when you're ready to take off and soar again, go ahead and do it. And there it goes. And then the keyboard kind of comes back a bit. And the vocals carry, the vocals carry, the vocals carry. Vocals need a break. Vocals come down. Here come the keyboards again. Whoop. Catching it, supporting it, not letting it fall, but at the same time, not taking over either. It's smart. It's really smart. There are a lot of groove metal bands that will follow that same format. And meanwhile, the whole time, guitar, bass, and drums underneath them, chugging away, chugging away, chugging away. Simple, eighth note pattern, making the chordal structure and the chordal flow work. You're letting the chordal pattern work. It's all coming together really well. Great use of layering and great use of dynamics, great use of shifting of attention from primary vocal line to secondary supporting keyboard line, all on top of that chugging away riffing being done by guitar, bass, and drums. Great job. Great job. When we're talking about groove metal, this is one of the things that you look for in great groove metal. So congrats to them. They're doing a fine job of keeping things moving and keeping things interesting. And delegating. Delegating. So important. Let's keep going. Okay. Almost like a soliloquy. I mean, it was pretty at the end. I dug that. I see the reason for it. Kind of just, wrap things up with a pretty little bow at the end. It's not bad. Not a bad way to go. Yeah, I mean, it was good. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Deftones with Rosemary. This was a request from Zach Barlow, and it was also the winner of the Patreon request prioritization poll, winning with 40% of the vote, moving it from number 450 in the queue straight up to number 1. So yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, your voice, your vote does matter. Okay, I thought about it, I got a score, and honestly, I've said pretty much everything I needed to say during the course of the reaction, so I'm just gonna hit some bullet points and hopefully make this a quick review. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give that an 8.0. Yep, 8.0. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, let me just start off by saying I am not the biggest fan of groove metal. Okay, I'm not. I have to be in a mood to listen to groove metal. But as groove metal goes, this was actually it was a great job. It was. Here's the thing. You know the saying, the sum is greater than the equal parts. You know that saying, right? This is a good example of it. If you look at everything individually, everything was a really good, everything that happened in there, all the parts that were done, everybody that did their parts, they all did a really good job, right? But when you add them all together, you go from really good to great. And the reason for that is this. I can sum it up for you in one word: delegation, okay? Everybody knew their roles. Everybody knew the roles that they had. Everybody knew the parts they had. Everybody knew what part they were playing in the grand scheme of things, and everybody did an outstanding job doing those roles, okay? Guitar, bass, and drums, very simplistic, staying with that groove the whole time, keeping the groove going, keeping the riff going non-stop through the whole song. Redundant? Yes. But for the purpose of groove metal, doing exactly what they were supposed to do. Keeping that groove going nonstop and never letting up on it and never deviating. Keeping it going the whole time. Really good job on all of their parts. Guitar, bass, and drums, keeping the song moving forward. Now, that's where delegation comes into play, part 1. Now, part 2 of that delegation comes into play in the form of the melodic lines. The important parts of groove metal are the riff and the carrier, in this case, the melodic lines, carrying the listener on that journey. You have the chugging engine underneath, right? That's the guitar, bass, and drums chugging away, chugging away, chugging away, keeping the song moving forward. But what's carrying the listener is those melodic lines. In this case, being done by the vocals, primarily reinforced by the keyboard. And I already gave the example of how the keyboards were reinforcing but never overtaking the vocals. The vocals were always the primary carrier. The keyboards were reinforcing, coming up and giving support when needed. But when not needed to reinforce, were able to come back, but not fully disappear. They were there, but not fully disappearing, but at the same time, never overtaking either. The primary carrier was the vocals, and I love how they delegated and they kept them separated. It was really smart. I felt it was really smart, and I do feel like sometimes within groove metal, you'll hear the vocal line sharing the responsibility with another vocal, with another line or another voicing, whether it be keyboard, strings, whatever the case may be, a guitar, whatever the case may be, but that other voicing will overtake the vocals and take away from, I hate to say it, but take away from the importance of the primary carrier. And in this case, that never happened. And I could really appreciate that. Again, delegation. Everybody knowing the role they're supposed to carry, everybody knowing the role they're supposed to do, reinforcing when necessary, but never overtaking. I really did appreciate that. The intro, really nice job building up into the entrance of that main guitar riff with the kick. Really nice job. I don't feel like the intro went on for too long. If they had gone longer, it would have been too long. I think it was the absolute perfect length. The outro. I see the reasoning for it, and I'm not discrediting it, and I'm not going to take anything away from it. Am I the biggest fan of it? No, but I see the reasoning for it. I see the direction, and it did the job it was supposed to do. It did wrap things up with a pretty little bow. Really nice, pretty ending. Okay, I get it. Am I the biggest fan? No, but I understand the reasoning for it. You take all the parts, all these really good ideas, all these really good voicings, all these really good riffs, you add them together and they do equate to greatness. They do. Have I heard better? I've heard better, but I mean, this was a great job overall. Overall, it was a great job. So that's why I'm giving it the great score of 8.0, okay? I thought about going lower, but every time I would duck down to like 7.7, 7.8. It just didn't make sense. It did not make sense. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we got to go up into the greatness then. So that's how we ended up with the 8.0. I looked at that score when I gave it of 8.0. I'm like, yeah, that actually makes perfect sense. So yeah, the delegation was really good. The arrangement was really good. And I got no issue with it whatsoever. So 8.0, I feel good with that score. That's where we're going to stay. So 8.0, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.